see. Because if we are on air and on live.
Yeah, it's back now.
Okay. Am I? I don't see it. Okay, so we live? How many people we got in? All right. Yeah, I don't see.
The Koofers continue.
It's on?
It's on my phone. I got it. It's on.
Okay, cool. I don't see it, but. All right, we'll get to it. Let's see. Let me go out here. All right, I guess it is live right here. Is this the one right here? Okay. Okay, we back. You know what? I want to get to these super chats that we unfortunately missed when we had to take a quick commercial break. Let me get to these super chats. Cool. Sorry for the delay. Appreciate y'all sticking by and standing with us. Okay. Here we go. LP with a super chat says, y'all called it. They're hollering then, though, and always been rap elitists and hypocrites. We like the idea of who they are more than who they actually are. Rigger 49 with the super chat says, no, but we can't act like they ain't men and have the right to spaz on fools that they feel disrespected. I'm not saying he's right or wrong. And CJ Kid with the super chat says, last year, Mike, back you said you wouldn't respond. Now after EP, I smell some. Okay, I think we got to that. I think we're all caught up.
That's the part that I don't think people understand is that, no, we've given them glowing reviews multiple times and they never say a word. But the few times where we've said a couple things he doesn't like, he just pulls up and thinks he's going to do this.
Yeah.
And it's not about to happen over here. So he needs to find like another publication to go do that to, because we're not the ones. And if he is who he is about supporting blacks, supporting black business, he's going to tone it down. He's going to come to some sort of agreement with us, or at least agree to disagree and stay away. And he's going to continue to let us thrive and not do things like call us liars on social media.
Right.
And come into our page and harass our fans, which some of them are his fans as well.
Yeah, definitely. Thumbs up in the chat and let people know that we're, back on live. I know we got disconnected. Sorry about that.
That was Talib's fault, though.
Right. The powers that be out there. I think the thing is, man, according to hip hop is a platform for the people, and we speak for the people, and the people spoke on their gripes about, how dissatisfied they were, and I guess he couldn't take that. And that's fine.
Like passion can be confused for ignorance when you don't have your facts and don't have yourself together.
Facts. All right, we got to get to another topic, man.
Please.
Did you hear that Coi Leray album?
I did. I was playing it on the way here.
What did you think about it?
You know what I really thought when I got done listening to it? She's talented.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these songs really hit the mark for the audience. But I think she's going to find as she grows more as an artist, some of the best stuff on here is when she takes chances.
Yeah. I think we're feeling the Nicki effect when it comes to women in rap right now in the mainstream. Because there's a lot of poppy type stuff going on. And you could tell from the intro that she can actually rap. You know what I'm saying? But I think that there's a pressure put on female rappers to actually go out there and hit that mainstream mark. I think Nicki really set that tone.
She did. So this album it felt like I forget which Meg album it was. Remember the Meg album where we were talking about, was it Good News?
Mm-hmm.
Where we were like, man, it's like, but there's so many popular samples that it really needs to pop for it to pop financially and make sense. I kind of felt that way about this project, although I feel like it's for a slightly younger demographic.
Right.
But like I said, there's some stuff on here, like the biggest chance I think she took that went her way, the Don't Chat Me Up with Gigs.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. It's like, so when she's doing like some of the pop star stuff and extending herself, she is showing the capability to do it.
She's dope.
And she's dope. It was a solid project. It's not per se like what I would normally listen to, but it's like I
Yeah.
can respect I can't lie. Some of these songs I was like, well, my daughter's probably listening to these songs.
Yeah, I don't think that she made it for the hip hop audience per se.
Right.
But I think like I said before, I think that song Players, I think that's one of the strongest singles of the year.
It is.
In the mainstream.
No, it is. No doubt.
I think that's a record we're probably going to hear all year. Probably some part of next year too.
No doubt.
Rigger 49er with the super chat says, you're right. If he disrespected y'all, then smash him. Guess it's because I still bump Black Star's album.
We didn't disrespect him. That's what's so wild about this. I want people to explain to me maybe if I missed something that what we did that was disrespectful. I think we've just been asking viable questions.
I don't think he liked the word swindled, but that's how fans felt. And he said, if you felt swindled, then you're not a fan.
No. Here's the thing. If your fan feels swindled, it's like, well, forge a better relationship or slide said fan over to the side. But don't emasculate and, denigrate them. And don't do it on our page or tag us in the process of it, because then we become attached to it. And while I love your music, it's like, well, as a person, if you're going to keep on attaching yourself and us to it, I'm going to start telling you how I feel about you as a man like I just did. And here we are.
Well, I'm not going to lie, man. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm not in a hurry to go support any Black Star efforts at this point.
Mike, I was very, very clear when I told you, it's like now that I know how to stream, when certain songs are playing, I'd be like, skip, like, I don't know, The Blast and Mrs. Fat Booty, because, like, nah, I'm not about to support this. Like, I'm not about to support a black man that's sitting up here kicking all this pro-blackness and literally is ending rhymes, talking about Black Wall Street, that only pulls up when he doesn't like our critiques. It's like, no, I'm not about to allow that foolishness or ignorance to continue. He needs to do better.
You know what? On a positive note, though, we're going to be talking about some albums that had some anniversaries. And recently, I want to say it was like yesterday, Country Grammar celebrated 23 years. And I made it a point to go out there and talk about some things that I don't think people talk about enough. Because I think it was Andrew Barber over there in Chicago, Fake Shore Drive. He pointed out the fun fact that Nelly originally wanted Juvenile on the album, but Universal wasn't trying to pay for Juvenile's price point at that point, so he had to settle for Lil Wayne, right? And I've said this before, and the fact that Nelly was able to come out the gate from St. Louis, Missouri, a place that we never heard nationally any rappers come out of, do 10 million. The only features you got on the album outside of your crew was Rashida and Lil Wayne, who really hadn't popped at that moment, and no superstar producers.
Cash Money Lil Wayne.
Big,
you have to say that. You have to say Cash Money Lil Wayne so people know which Wayne you're talking about.
Exactly. No big-time producers. No cosigns. And you came out the gate doing 10 million. 50 had Eminem, Dre. Eminem had Dre. Snoop had Dre. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody who did something big, out the gate, they had a cosign. Nelly did it without any of that.
I will tell you this.
That's respectable.
I remember me and Six was riding up South Boulevard. I was in his whip the first time. Like, we heard EI. Because EI came out the summer. It came out before Country Grammar. I remember hearing EI before I heard Country Grammar. And I think when Country Grammar started to become big, they pulled EI and flipped it and bought it back. But we heard EI on the radio one night, and we were like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, what is this? You know what I mean? It was like one of those things. It's like we didn't know if we should like it or not. We just knew it was knocking in Six's ride. But it was like, we were like, It's like, I don't know, because it was so different. And I think sometimes he doesn't get credit for like how innovative and different that he was, because there literally was nobody that was talking or sounding like him. I guess for traditional hip hop heads, they didn't like the sing-songy nursery rhyme part of it.
It was ahead of his time, actually, when you think about it.
Looking back, he's actually about he about to get 4, 5, 6, 7 years ahead of the curve.
Nelly got more sons than people like to admit.
And so that is an important moment in hip hop. And I actually met him when Country Grammars come out, because he came to Manifest in Charlotte. Showed up 3 hours late, but he came, and I can remember that. I think, Mike, I feel like by the time that summer was over here, he did 6 million, and it was just like, what?
Yeah, I remember that album catching on like wildfire. I heard Country Grammar first, because they were playing Country Grammar here. I want to say at the early part of the year of 2000. I don't think the album dropped until like June or something like
That's
that.
what I'm saying. I think he made EI the summer of like '99 because I was hearing EI like.
Yeah, I'm sure those songs existed for a while. And for me, I thought it was a fluke with Country Grammar until I heard EI, and I was like, oh, no, he's for real.
Well, here's the thing. When he dropped Country Grammar, I'm like, why he dropped that shit? EI the shit.
I like the EI better,
Me
actually.
too.
And I like both of them.
Me too. So I faded on him about Country Grammar because I was like, where EI? And then EI came back. But by then I was like, nah, I don't like it.
And then I think Ride With
And
Me
then
is one
Ride
of the
With Me is
50 greatest hip-hop songs of all time, in my opinion.
Could make an argument for it. But then he came out with Ride With Me, and I was like, nah, I was like, he on to
Oh,
something.
yeah, he's real.
I was like, no, I was just like, whatever that was the time too when I was like, I'd started like really rhyming intently, and it was like, I was like, nah, I was like, I'm never gonna be like that. But fam is on to like something. You know what I'm saying? Like what he's doing is working.
And you know what? I feel like with that little fun fact about the Juvenile Wayne thing, and Juvenile and Wayne, both on Cash Money, they were distributed by Universal.
Correct.
So this is all in-house. This lets you know Universal probably didn't even think Nelly was going to go gold. They weren't willing to put any money up for this project. You see what the videos look like. That budget for that album probably was less than 50 grand.
Wayne is still a hook man on Bling Bling when this is going on. We
Exactly.
don't even know what Wayne's rhyme skills really are like unless you are a big timers Cash Money core fan before the Universal deal. You don't even know what Wayne rhyme skills like.
So look at this. You're coming out of St. Louis, right? You don't have any big-time producers. You don't have any big-time cosigns. The only features you can get from your label are Rashida and Lil Wayne at the time. And you do $10 million out the gate. This might be the most impressive debut album as far as, performance-wise we've seen in hip-hop.
It's it's a special moment and a special moment for him, and it's something he should always be very, very proud of.
He put St. Louis on the map, too. That whole region.
Glad I caught it.
Got all kind of issues going on.
Right.
We
No,
cool?
no. It's just a little foam ain't fitting in. There we go.
Yeah, we'll fix that.
Well, here's the thing. And here's when I realized that like he was like really, really bona fide. It's like the first single off his next album is probably his biggest hit. And all of those were big, big hits. And I was like, okay,
And mind you, this is his first swing with the Neptunes.
First strike.
With some people who, are big time now.
High level.
Okay.
And
give me that,
and
I'm going to take it to the next level.
And he did.
Yeah.
He
He don't get enough credit, in my personal opinion.
No. Shout out to Nelly. You're right. He's one of those people that was ahead of the curve that we didn't realize.
Yeah. And shout out to Flo Rida, too, because he always gives Nelly props. And Flo Rida is one of the biggest selling artists of his era, too.
If I'm not mistaken, Flo Rida's like in that top 20 selling hip-hop artist of all time.
And he said without Nelly, he wouldn't have been able to do it like that.
I met Flo Rida at 10 Pin when he first, when Low was like a thing.
Rigger49er with the super chat says, as far as female MCs, what do you think of Snow the Product? I think she's the hardest. She spazzes with Tech Nine, Crooked Eye, Luda, Dax, and Scarface. What do you think about? I don't think we've ever talked about Snow the Product on this show.
I like Snow, actually. We still gonna have to find this get some of this verbiage together. That's why part of why I wanted to talk to Love is that it's like, well, okay, if you don't like the verbiage female MC, let's introduce some new verbiage into the lexicon because hip hop and our vernacular, our ebonics, our diction, and introducing words into our culture and thereby gets assimilated by the rest of the culture as a whole is something that we have always viably done. So it can be done with this. So I want to try to find.
I think that female MC has been given a negative connotation unnecessarily because at the end of the day, they're giving a woman's side of, the hip hop perspective. And that's not a bad thing.
Tell that to the guys.
Male MC.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think that's where it becomes the negative connotation, though, is because there's MC and then there's female MC.
Yeah.
See how the connotation is not male vocalist, female vocalist, it's MC and female MC.
I could see that.
Right.
J.I. Designs with the super chat says, I'm from the Lou. Glad y'all highlighted Nelly in this album. He definitely been overlooked, helped to plant the flag for St. Louis. Yeah, I mean, there's no Chingy without him.
Definitely not.
I mean, it's not.
How about this? People don't even go look in the Lou's talent pool like that if it's not for Nelly. That's what it did.
No.
It's some of that Outkast effect. It's like, oh, well, everybody were down here to get a bunch of singers until Outkast made a rap album.
You're right.
Right.
You want to talk about how Outkast put Atlanta on the map.
Yeah.
He put St. Louis on the map.
No, right.
That whole region.
Because Atlanta had singers. Like, we had niggas down here singing hooks. It's like you came down here, got your little Dallas Austin, little Jermaine Dupri, got your little Criss Cross, TLC. Like, we had stuff. Yeah.
Frank Rizzo with the super chat says, don't know if y'all touched on it already, but the album covers in the back, what made y'all pick those particular for the background? We were talking about rotating some of them. We wanted to have some classic ones, but we wanted to have some that jumped out from a color standpoint and just from the dope album covers. Good Kid, Mad City, I think, was actually a choice, but it's just such a dull album cover as far as color-wise that, we picked the Drake one instead, I think it was. I know the Kendrick fans are going to go crazy with that one.
You know you're not allowed to talk about him, right?
You're
not allowed to talk about album covers either.
Yeah, can't talk about album covers.
Protect your neck, nigga. That's the greatest album cover ever, okay? You didn't know?
What, talking about Good Kid, Mad City?
You didn't know it's the greatest album cover ever? Everything
sure.
he does is his greatest thing ever.
Kendrick's the GOAT. Speaking of GOATs, man, long live the Kane. Celebrating 35 years today. Shout out to Big Daddy Kane, one of the greatest ever. I think he's one of the guys that, from a skill set standpoint, really doesn't get the props that he should on some of these mainstream platforms. But I do think that he's starting to get more props than he's ever gotten before. You wanted to have a Kane conversation, right?
Well, I just wanted to highlight Long Live the Kane because it is his best album.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of our greatest MCs. And, since we've been doing this MC list, I think, part of what happens is that the media doesn't notarize certain classics because, well, quite frankly, they're not as classic as other classics that came out around it. Like, I don't know, It Takes a Nation of Millions.
Let me ask you this, because I think this is a good way to frame it. For some of our younger people out there, and, Kane is actually before our time, too, because this is 88. What would you say to them to basically articulate the greatness of Kane and why Kane is so important in the whole hip-hop discussion? Because they'll say he had 1 or 2 albums, man. Like, he ain't had no longevity.
Why don't you say that about NWA?
Because they went off to do solo stuff.
Right, but he was a soloist.
Uh-huh.
I think because, and here's what I mean, like, well, Kane really was like the ladies' man before L was. It's like, I know LL's name was Ladies Love, and he made I Need Love, but it's like, I think Kane had like L's fans, but he had Rock M's fans too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Kane's special. It's like, no, Kane was rough enough, tough enough, strong enough, intelligent enough, rhymed his ass off enough that the brothers wanted to be Kane.
The performance, to me, puts him to the next level.
Well, this is what I'm about to say. Well, then you couple his height and his looks and his dance moves and how he actually operates and takes advantage of those things. Oh, well, now the women love him too. And so really, he had something that really I don't think anybody's really had before or since. He had the fellas and he had the ladies like the right way at the same time. It's like, no, the ladies loved him because he was strong and black and good looking and intelligent and could dance and could rhyme. But so did the fellas. Like, he made all that shit cool.
Why do you think that
like Biggie and Jay do not exist? Like, Biggie and Jay's versatility is like a Big Daddy Kane blueprint. You do understand that, right?
Do you think that when it comes to LL and Kane, do you think that it was one of those things where it was like there was only room for one of them in the mainstream? Why do you think that both of them didn't exist to the same height?
I think production choices. I think L actually had better production. And so when Kane tried to make some of those records, I think production-wise it didn't go as well because I just think Kane's better on the mic than L.
I was listening to the album today. A whole bunch of bangers on there.
Yeah.
I will say this. I feel like with some of the slower stuff and like the love stuff, I think L probably did it better. And maybe that's because I wanted to hear Kane more on the rap shit.
But also the production has something to do with that. L look, listen to the stuff that L's doing the love stuff over, and it's like, oh, well, that beat has more of a memorable and unique tone to it. Like, take the I Need Love beat. A lot of people are like hating on that beat, but it's like, go back and listen to it now.
Yeah, it's classic.
It
has a whole classic feel to it.
It has a classic feel to it. Kane's records that were like that, they don't have classic feel to them. It usually is a matter of production.
You got a top 5 Kane verses.
I was struggling with some of that. I kind of wanted
so many bars.
Right, it's a lot of bars, and so I kind of wanted your help because here's the thing: when we're going verses, it's like, well, we could just go ain't no half stepping, and that's 4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So I was thinking, like, what do you think is the stuff that he's done that's the most memorable? Because to me, I don't think it's his best verse, but I think the symphony verse is
That's
the
a memorable
verse.
moment. Yeah.
I think that's the verse that lets you know everything who Kane is.
I agree. And if that one's number one, I can't argue with that. I mean, just the impact of it all, and
Right.
just the whole back and forth about
so
who had the best verse.
So I think his two most important verses actually come on songs that aren't even like his, and that's the Symphony and Big L on
Yeah, I
Platinum
knew you were
Plus.
gonna say Platinum Plus.
Because Mike,
Platinum Plus jumps out.
because it's one of those verses that it's like for people that was like, oh, why everybody like him? He wasn't.
No, Platinum Plus
Evidence,
is crazy.
like that's modern day Evidence. 10 years, like that's 98. So the guy people idolize in 88, that's him in 98. It's like, no, I can still rhyme like this. It's only a verse, but if we're just talking about a verse, those are the two verses that stand out. The verse on Raw, the first verse on Raw stands out.
I love Just Rhyming with Biz.
Okay.
It's so much that comes from there.
Right. Okay.
Very artistical. Like, you can listen to that verse, for the other generation or younger generation, excuse me, you can listen to that verse and probably hear about 3 or 4 songs
Right.
that you've heard before from that one individual verse. I think that his pen game was special, and not only what he was able to do for himself and, just writing for Biz.
And he might have became a star too quick. That's what I mean. Is it's like, no, there ain't never been, to this day, Mike, there hasn't been anybody that looked like that brother, can rap like that brother, and dance like that brother all at once. We saw it.
Do you think that they just didn't know what to do with him?
Yeah, you want to talk about somebody really being ahead of their time, Mike?
Yeah.
Like really, really being ahead of their time? Because it's like, think about how ahead of his time that he is, that nobody's been able to duplicate it. There ain't nobody that's the package that Kane has the MC. Because think about it. You can stand his bars next to Rakim and Nas and G and KRS, but you can stand his dance move next to like hate to say it, the female girl groups. It's
like Hammer or something. I mean,
right,
not
like,
as much as Hammer, but
like,
it's up.
No, Hammer, Heavy D and the boys. It's like, look at all the rings that he jumps through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does a lot.
He's still a one-on-one.
He is. I think that.
Like how about this? There ain't nobody in our top 5. I think KRS in our top 5. I think KRS is in our top 5.
I think he's there.
Right. KRS the only one in the top 5 that even performance-wise is.
No, exactly.
Meaning that's no disrespect to the other guys. It's like,
I think they would say the same
ain't
thing.
none of them dudes Kane on stage.
Quentin McLean, and we just saw Kane 2 years ago, killing it.
He crushed it, man.
Yeah, he did.
He crushed it. You and me were looking at each other like, I don't know how this nigga's rapping.
The breath
while he's
control
dancing
like that.
This. It's like, I don't know how he's dancing like this at this age and rapping. Mike, I still have the footage. I just watch it sometimes because I'm like, I don't believe he still know how to do this shit. Like, he's still doing splits and like.
It's insane.
50 something?
Oh, no, he's well past 50.
50 something.
Yeah.
Is he 60 yet? No. I think
he's probably
he was the
mid to
youngest
late
one.
50s.
Yeah, he feel like he about 57, 58, 59 now. Like, yeah. But
Quentin McLean with the super chat says, it's been 5 days since Jim responded. Maybe Jim may have a couple clips in the chamber. Did you see what Cameron said?
No, Cam said something.
Cam said something. Hold on, let me pull it up. Let me go to Cam's Instagram real quick while we on live. Cam was saying basically that, leave me out of it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm always support my guy, but I'm doing sports now.
Told you.
Cam said, nah, Push, me and Capo definitely don't be on the same page all the time, but I don't go against family. Harlem. Don't use no old problems that we had to win a battle. Get in the booth. You nice, but Jim got you on the ropes, and you ain't rope-a-doping. I don't care if y'all put me in y'all bars. I quit. I do sports. People are saying Jimmy got him on the ropes. You still got Push winning this.
Man, ain't nobody even taking that seriously. So here's what I know. That's Harlem, right?
Yeah.
Did that sound like a glowing endorsement to you?
I mean, he said he supports him. He supports
I ain't
family.
what I asked you. I asked you, does that sound
He
like
said he got him on the ropes.
Does that sound like a glowing endorsement to you? You tell me what you think that sounds like, because I'm going to tell you what I think it sounds like.
It sounds like Cam's hedging his bets since we're talking sports.
How about this?
He said he don't go against his guy.
That's like, okay.
He don't sound that confident.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And I don't know Cam, but I've heard Cam be confident.
It's kind of him saying, it's like, well, it's Uptown, so
Yeah.
I'm going to rep Uptown to the fullest. But he got him on the ropes. Rope what? Rope a dope. See how he use ropes and then rope a dope because he's doing a sports show now to try to make the sports analogy like low key, like, hey, watch my sports show. No, like Cam know what time it is. Cam done actually rap next to Pusha.
He has.
He knows.
He knows.
But
Rigger 49er
let's
says,
stop all that.
as far as a group, where y'all got the Beastie Boys?
I think they'd be top 15, 20. I think for me, Mobb Deep's in my top 10, obviously. I have them higher. Like, how about this? For me, I don't see how you can feel the way that you feel about NWA and not feel that way about Mobb Deep and then some, because they actually have that. They have Straight Outta Compton like 3 times, essentially.
I ain't mad at that. I
Like-
think their overall impact is not what. I mean, you can't have an impact like NWA. I mean, it's
See,
just-
but that's what I mean. That's not fair, because it's
Yeah.
like when you're saying you can't have an impact like NWA, it's like, well, I'll tell you what. Do West Coast artists sound like NWA today? Because I can show you some niggas that still sound like Mobb Deep. Are you sure? You see how when people say that, it's like, no, you're saying that because that's what you want to hear. That might not be true. Like, because it's like every time I hear Griselda, I'm like, no, Mobb Deep exists.
No, you're right.
Where you hear NWA at? Just being honest. Like,
I mean, currently,
where do you hear Straight Outta Compton at? That's what I'm saying. Where you hear niggas for life? Like, you don't hear that stuff. So, like, when people are saying that impact, nah, you thinking about their solo impact. You're not thinking about the group.
I guess I'm thinking about their content impact, the way they changed how people were talking, I would say. But this is what I will say about the Beasties, to get back to the original question. The Beastie Boys are very influential to MWA. I mean, they'll tell you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Eazy-E vocally is Mike D-ish, you know, and the real Mike D, not me.
Right.
Rolling
down the street in my 6'4".
Yeah, and
that's
Ice
Mike D.
Cube, you know, when they said when Ice Cube first came to the camp and was writing, he sounded like, you know, the Beasties. And you know, you're not gonna find too many groups that was sampled as Beasties as well. We talk about Paul Revere. You want to talk about how innovative Paul's Boutique is. But I think what hurts the Beasties is the fact that they evolved as a group. And I guess I say evolved in the sense where they kind of went back to their original rock roots. But we don't talk about enough that they pretty much created this rock rap lane. They created that lane that Limp Bizkit lived in. They created that lane that Kid Rock lived in. And they influenced hip hop early.
Yeah, Rick Rubin and the Beastie Boys. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even after Rick, they were innovating. You know what I'm saying?
They were innovating, but it wasn't being followed like that core formula with Rick.
Because I think the only thing that they did with Rick was License to Ill. Yeah.
That's still their best album to me.
License to Ill got bangers. Like,
For
License
days.
to Ill's got more bangers than Eminem's whole career. So,
That's a little shady.
is it?
Pun intended.
Okay.
That's a little shady.
Well, to answer that question, though, it's difficult to actually have them in a hip hop conversation because I think their impact like spans genres, and I don't think they stayed in hip hop long enough to put them over some of the people who spent their whole careers in hip hop. So I think,
think
a
they're
top
top
15.
25?
I think top 15 on impact and all those other things I mentioned is super fair. They would be higher if they, you know, continued the rap thing, but I think that, you know, 15's fair.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
Yeah, I would find them somewhere probably 15 to 20, because also too very few groups have made a album as good and as impactful as License to Ill.
DFW Herbie with the super chat says, Pusha is in my top 5. Cam is not. But I'd take Come Home With Me over Pusha's entire discography, including clips. 007, shout out 007 with the super chat says, NY don't stick together. There's so much material out there Push can pull from Cam. Cam said a few years ago, Jimmy really wasn't from Harlem and pulled his card and they were going back and forth. It's true.
We're in Atlanta. I'm staying out of it.
Rigger 49 with
See
the
y'all
super
in
chat
August.
says, Mobb Deep is not better than Wu-Tang or Bone.
I think they're better than Bone.
I think they have a more extensive catalog than Bone.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion.
I
I'm
mean,
a
they
Bone
do.
fan.
I mean, Bone's best album isn't Touching the Infamous. I'm sorry.
I love Bone, but I think that Bone's window was 94, 97.
But it's a great
It's
window.
a great
Mike.
window.
Like it's enough. Like their window's enough to be a top 20 group with what they did. Easy. Like for people that feel like Bone's a top 10 group, it's like no, I know why they feel that way. I just don't think that it's like quite there.
Well, I want to go to the anniversary of one of my favorite albums, if not my favorite hip hop album. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back from Public Enemy. It's turning 35 today as well. I don't know, man. It's hard to really quantify the impact of this effort,
Man, it's 1988. Like I don't think people understand that it's like, okay, this is the problem with Long Live the Kane. It's probably one of the 50 greatest rap albums ever, Mike. But it's like the 7th or 8th best rap album that year.
88 was really tough.
That's the problem. 88 is 96.
Yeah, 88 is 96. 95 is really dense, too. But I think 88.
95 is top heavy.
I think the thing about 88, the difference between 88 and 96. Yeah, pull up 88. 88 is when people are making their debuts, though. And where 96 is more of a sophomore thing.
Everybody found their groove in 96.
I want to listen. What's your favorite song on It Takes a Nation?
You first, Mike. You're the fan. I mean, I'm a fan. But Mike, when we get
it's a lot.
like here's what I mean when I mean you're a fan is like I be talking to you some days and be like, man, I just got done to listen to It Takes a Nation of Millions. I be like, man, it's like I feel like Mike has told me that like 11 times this year. Like every year that I've known you.
Rebel Without a Pause is pretty rough, man. Listen, this is what the album looks like.
Man,
you got Bring the Noise, Don't Believe the Hype. You got Terminator X and The Edge of Panic. Jeez, Louder Than a Bomb was hard too. Show them what you got, skit, whatever. She Watches Channel Zero is hard too. Night of the Living Bassheads, Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos, Rebel Without a Pause, Prophets of Rage.
Good Lord.
Yeah, man. That's a heavy album. I'm going to say Rebel Without a Pause for right now.
That's the easy choice. Hold on.
Prophets of Rage is hard, too.
It's all hard. That's the problem. Hold on. What's the other one?
She Watched Channel Zero.
No. Before that. Go up some.
Night of the Living Bassheads?
That's close.
Louder Than a Bomb?
Louder Than a Bomb.
Louder Than a Bomb.
Louder Than a Bomb is my pick.
Yeah.
Louder Than a Bomb is my joint.
The production on this album.
But you go Louder Than a Bomb, Rebel Without a Pause, Basshead, She Watches Channel Zero. Like you could go to any of those, but mine is probably Louder Than a Bomb.
And speaking of birthing,
that's the Chuck that I'm like that guy.
Speaking of birthing NWA, that's the album that gave us Straight Outta Compton, to be perfectly honest with you, sonically.
I believe that Ice Cube and Scarface exist vocally because this album exists and Chuck D exists. Like
Reggie with the super chat says, guys, what about all the heat that came out in 92? What we got in 92?
Ain't nobody talking about 92. By All Means Necessary, Strictly Business, Long Live the Kane, It Takes a Nation of Millions, Light as a Rock, Straight Outta Compton, Follow the Leader, Straight Out the Jungle, The Greatest Adventures of Slick
That's
Rick.
the one I was waiting on.
The Greatest Adventures, Mike, Easy Does It, Tougher Than Leather, Life is Too Short, Assault with a Deadly Pepper. It's 88, Mike.
Is he the DJ and I'm the rapper?
Yep, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's the DJ, I'm the rapper.
Yeah, that's 88.
That's 88. It's hard. Like that's why I'm saying it's like, well, you want to know what happened to Kane? Really in Kane's career? Kane's best album came out in arguably hip hop's best year, and it's probably not a top 5 album that year because By All Means Necessary is better. It Takes a Nation is better. Straight Outta Compton's better. Follow the Leader is better. Tougher Than Leather. Easy Does It is better, and Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick
I was
going to
say Great Adventures. I don't think Tougher Than Leather is better.
No, but I took that one off. But even with those that we named, it would be 7th in 88. You think it's better than Easy Does It?
I do. I think it's better than Easy Does It. I could be wrong.
Let me pull up the track list to Easy Does It right quick, Mike, because I don't know about that. Just keeping it real.
I don't know. Hold on. Let me pull up the track list on the other end.
No. I got
Kane got joints.
I don't know.
Nah, Long Live the Kane. These are the bangers that he got raw. He got Set It Off.
Glove reminded me that Easy Doesn't win triple platinum on the interview.
Oh, no. Cali represents. Ain't no half steppings on there.
Ooh, Mike.
Just Rhyming with Biz is on there. What you got?
No. We're going. We're getting to it.
Ricker 49er says, y'all got Mobb Deep over Ghetto Boys, Outkast, and Tribe?
No.
No,
not
Cast and Tribe.
Not Cast and Tribe. Right.
You know what? Based on like straight up criteria for groups, I would be comfortable putting Tribe Called Quest as the best hip hop group of all time. Album for album. I mean,
they just don't have. They don't have.
What are they missing?
Beats, Rhymes, and Life is the problem, Mike. And the Love
That's
Movement.
their fourth album.
The Beats, Rhymes, and Life and the Love Movement is the
The
problem.
fourth and their fifth album. So tell me what groups have a better fourth and fifth album outside of Cass.
De La.
But
Yeah.
I don't think De La's strongest stuff is better than the first three. I think the Tribe's debut is better than De La's debut. I think Tribe's second album is better than De La's second album.
You want to know what? I'm going to give you.
And I think Midnight Marauders is better than Balloon Mind State.
I'm going to give you Long Live the Kane over Easy Does It. So that puts it at 6.
Okay.
That would put it at 6, though, in 88.
That's crazy.
So that's probably what happened to Kane.
Yeah.
Right. Should have waited till 89.
I still think, in my personal
Just drop
opinion,
Ain't No Half Stepping in Raw and just run.
well, I
Wait
mean,
till
I
89.
don't think he knew. Like, it came out, in the middle of the
Everybody
year?
was just making music then.
Yeah, everybody was just making music. People weren't moving their dates around.
Freaking Follow the Leader in the Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick, and It Takes a Nation in one.
You think it's
year.
better than, you think Follow the Leader is better?
It just is.
Why? Because Rakim's better
Not even that. How about this?
on Follow the Leader?
On Follow the Leader, Ain't No Half Stepping happens 3 times.
You got Microphone Fiend versus Ain't No Half Stepping. I think Ain't No Half Stepping is a better song than Microphone
And then
Fiend.
Follow the Leader and Lyrics of Fury, Mike. Now, what 2 songs are on Long Live the King?
Well,
I
you
like
got
that.
Set It Off and Raw.
That's not better. That's what I'm saying.
You don't think Raw is better than Follow the Leader?
No.
Really?
God, no.
I'm trying to give Kane
Literally,
some, man.
God, no.
You know, we didn't address that. What do you think about Eric B. and Rakim being like the number 7 group?
If they were going to do that, they should actually be a little higher.
I
If they was going to do that, like all jokes aside, how about this? If you're doing that, then it goes like Outkast, Wu-Tang, Public Enemy, Tribe,
and then them.
and then Eric B. and Rakim. Right. Right. If you're doing it like that, because to be honest with you, it's like you want to talk about 3 albums. Well, I don't know if nobody got 3 albums like that in no group setting.
Yeah.
Not 3 like that, because here's the thing. Whatever, Peyton full whooping, what on whoever with, and then lyrically speaking, you got Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em, which pretty much trump everything lyrically. Boop, boop, yeah.
Armand, my bad, with the super chat says, peace. Is Long Live the Kane better than Ultramatic MC's Critical Breakdown?
Some people,
Beatdown, excuse me.
Ultramagnetics right there,
That's
too.
their classic. I think it is.
I think it is.
I
Yep.
think it is, but it's not like
That's
too
about,
far
the memorable moments. That's what I mean. That's all comparable. It's
Was
like,
Biz in 88 too?
nah,
Going off with 88?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, peace to these albums, man. I love the anniversaries because, these albums need to be acknowledged. And, I know that we do like this whole hip hop 50 and everybody wants to jump out there in their Adidas suits and, do the song and dance. But we celebrate this stuff on a daily, weekly basis. And these are classic efforts, and you only get 35 once. I can't believe these albums have been around for 35 years. I wish I was listening to It Takes a Nation more when I was, in my formative years.
It's funny when we go back and we cover albums from this time. It's like I just see my cousin's boombox and like all these songs start playing back in my head.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, I remember the first time he put Public Enemy in the actual boombox.
Shit sounds different, man.
Shit sounded different. I was like, what is this? I was
Yeah.
like, this is like I thought a riot was about to start because it was.
Yeah. Yeah, Public Enemy. Did you hear what Pimp C's widow said about speaking of Hip Hop 50 celebration?
Only because you told me.
Let's see. She was she got on Instagram and she spoke her piece. She didn't think that Hip Hop 50 was representing Texas enough. Actually, I saw Turk get online and say that he thought Cash Money should have been honored as well.
Was Cash Money or No Limit honored?
Well, I saw Master P out there saying that he wanted to do a Cash Money and No Limit, I guess collaboration on stage. This is the thing.
I like that idea.
The thing is, Birdman and Wayne are still going, and in their mind, they're not pushing for that because once you get honored in that way, you're kind of conceding. And I don't agree with this totally, but I think this is the mindset, and I've heard this. This is the mindset. You're conceding that it's over. And Birdman's like, nah, I'm still going. Wayne's like, I'm still going. They don't need to honor me now. Like,
In Wayne's
the
case,
book's not done.
In Wayne's case, I can see that because Wayne's book's not done. I mean, he went on a feature run a couple years ago that was rather extraordinary and made me excited about the possibilities of what his next album might sound like. You know, but I would tell you that it's like, well, especially at the stage that Wayne is in the game, is like, well, if he feels that way, where's the album and the music that reflects that sentiment outside of features?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it needs to reflect if you feel that way too.
I think a person like him moves forward. Like, you know, they're not thinking about what happened in the past. He even said he doesn't remember his shit.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Remember when you told me that, like, part of why Nas keeps making music, somebody told you, is because he doesn't want to end up on the tour with his idols.
And I was told the Kid Capri does those things too. It's like, you know, you don't want to be on those old folks tours.
Right.
And I think Birdman and Wayne are like, nah, we're current. And Birdman is behind like NBA Youngboy and folks like that. Like, he is going. He's current. You know, NLE Chopper's one of his people too. So he's still going. And
he's like Cash Money, still viable. We still a thing. But here's the thing about it. And I mean, and here's where Master P is like, well, it ain't like it was, fam. And what Master P is talking about is talking about doing a mashup that actually commemorates when y'all was actually both running shit relatively around the same time, because you can have NBA Youngboy and NLE Chopper and you can still have Wayne. It's not like it used to be. It's not even like what it was when you had Young Money.
I was going to say this, and this is my thoughts on it. I saw how that audience was out there moving when Soulja Boy went out there and performed. And I noticed it like, yo, the people who were in their late 20s to mid 30s, they grew up around the 2005, 2010-ish era. That's where we're at now. So that old Cash Money shit, when they hear Cash Money, they think of Wayne, Drake, and Nicki. That's drowned out what we know of as the Cash Money millionaires. So if they do a Cash Money tribute and Wayne, Drake, and Nicki ain't up there, there's a whole demographic that's like, where Nicki and Drake at?
And also too, let's go back to the central point of that problem too. What incentive does Cash Money millionaire Wayne, Young Money millionaire Wayne, Wayne in general, how is he incentivized to show up to this show? How is Nicki incentivized? How is Drake incentivized? You get what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
Like you know, you're talking about people that like. You know, you're talking about some people that don't move unless like $100,000 is on the table.
And these are the people that are going to bring millions of eyes to your show.
Like has in when I mean move, I mean has in $100,000 might make them lift their head up. You know what I'm saying?
Award shows ain't paying you anyway.
Right. So you have to incentivize artists that, you know, are used to making $500,000, $1 million at a drop of a dime. You have to incentivize them to come to your show. Where's the incentivization?
They don't have it.
Then therein lies the real problem about not getting the show that you want.
Yeah. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says NWA's impact is powerful. It's why, if you notice, Chuck D was wearing a Black Raiders hat and a Raiders jacket on the cover at Texan Nation. Very powerful. Rigger 49er with the super chat says De La ain't better than EPMD or Ghetto Boys. I've heard that before. And again, I'm a De La fan. But there are people who aren't as much of De La fans that you can't tell them that, you know, De La is better than the Ghetto Boys.
The music's just too good.
Yeah, I agree. I think their compositions are just too good. Let me find this post from.
Yeah, the music is just too good.
Yeah, shout out to De La, man. I'm glad people are able to actually take in their catalog.
Yeah,
too.
I'm taking De La over EPMD.
Me too.
I mean, the only group that's like not in the top 10 that I would probably have in the top 10 is Mobb Deep for certain. That whole Eric B. and Rakim thing is a whole curve. Where they put Gangstar?
I don't remember. I think it was in the 20s.
It's very problematic.
But
Cool G Rap and DJ Polo made this list since they did Eric B. and Rakim?
See, that's the problematic part about including Eric B. and Rakim as a group.
Right.
Because now you're leaving out other, you know. Anyway.
Right. And technically that was a 4-album run that they did, because Don't Sweat the Technique is Eric B. and Rakim too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they're a group, Mike, that 4-album run is about as good as it gets too.
Exactly. It throws off the balance with them being a group.
It really does.
We need to have a whole conversation about where they are in the group lexicon.
Putting Eric B. and Rakim in messes up the whole group dynamic.
It does.
And that's like cheat code stuff, Mike. It's like I got a cheat code.
Well, see, this is my problem with it.
I got a group cheat code. His name's Rakim.
My problem with it is, as a group, I'm not really
Like,
sure
who the
what
best rapper?
Eric B did.
Look, if Rakim and Eric B are a group, it's like, well, who's the best rapper in a group ever? Rakim.
Exactly. But I guess my thing is, I know they had outside producers from Marley Marl to Large Professor. I'm not quite sure in the group dynamic what Eric B did from a recording standpoint.
Look, what's the best song to ever come out of a group? Eric B is president
Straight
or paid
up.
in full.
Yeah.
You see how it changes everything when you
Yeah.
put them in a group? Like,
But
history
what do you
change.
do? What do you do? I mean, they are a group technically.
I mean, if we really doing it like that, Mike, I mean, how about this? You could argue just for 4 albums. I mean, yeah, it's just Outkast and Tribe, Mike.
Well, see, this is how I have to parse it. And if we're going to, we're going to play this game, right? I'm going to parse it from the sense where, let's look at Gangstar and Premier and Guru, right? We know what Premier did and we know what Guru did.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the group dynamic, I would have to rank Gangstar over Eric B and Rakim because, again,
Talk about Freebo's production side of it
Exactly.
coming into play.
exactly, and
Where he is all time as a producer.
Guru and the work that he's done on the Gangstar stuff from a pen standpoint. Now, I'm not saying Guru's a better rapper than Rakim, obviously.
We know that. We know.
But from a group standpoint and what they both bring to the group, I would have to say they're a stronger group than Eric B and Rakim.
Under the traditional sense of the word
because
group.
of what they do.
Well,
Like, you're Primo, I'm Guru. We know what Primo does. We know what Guru. But when you add that up with, Eric B, Rakim, it's like, okay, well.
Well, see, here's, I think, the problem is like, well, if you're going to do that, it's like, well, what beats did Eric B do?
That's what I'm saying.
But do you know offhand?
I don't.
Like, did he do Microphone Fiend? Big important if he did. You know what I'm saying? Did he do the Paid in Full
I don't
beat?
think so.
Big important if he did. Look, these are all-time great beats. You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
think so.
Well, then I do understand where you're coming from with that synopsis.
Yeah.
You know?
Because a lot of those beats, Rakim actually did.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why it's very problematic.
And so that's
Because
why.
then it's like, who's the greatest group member? It's like, Rakim again. Because it's like he did the beat. If he did the beats and the rhymes, Mike.
Yeah. Because look at KRS, right? KRS did a lot of that boogie down production.
Yo, it's crazy how some of our greatest MCs, like, do beats, Mike.
Yeah.
Like think about this. Like,
Slick Rick.
Slick Rick, KRS-One, and Rakim know how to make beats, and they rhyme the way that they rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people be like, why are you, like, I guess, an old head? It's like, that's why I was raised to think that, like, that niggas like that was the bar.
Right. No, you're right.
Right.
Let me get to the statement from Pimp C's wife. She said, maybe I missed it, but did the BET Awards really not showcase any Texas artists on for 50 years of hip-hop? So I noticed that they barely had any artists from the South, and we're supposed to be celebrating hip-hop's 50th anniversary. They weak for that. I'm going to say it in my Andre 3000 voice. The South got something to say. I want to say what Chad would have said, but I'm not. But I'm thinking it. Country rap tunes, reposted, yeah. I know someone from the Lone Star State could have been represented. Guess we really are country rap tunes.
Yeah, face. Ghetto Boys.
Was he not out there?
Did you see Scarface out there?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, we would have known.
Do you think they unintentionally omitted Texas? And, what's Texas' overall impact?
Might have been some lack of just great Southern representation, because when you think of Southern hip-hop, correct me if I'm wrong, well, Scarface, Ghetto Boys, UGK, 3 6 Mafia, Outkast, Goody Mob, T.I., Lil Wayne. Am I missing something?
Was T.I. out there?
No. But
T.I. was at the show.
was he there?
He was at the show because I know he was dapping up Quavo and Offset in the back.
Okay.
But I don't think he performed, though.
So that's what I mean. Is like, so I think it's not just a Texas representation, although having somebody all-time great like Scarface who actually actively contributes and does albums unlike Andre, you get what I'm saying? It's like, no, that's a big miss if you're missing Face, because you keeping our guy out.
Well, the Grammys also left Willie D out, too.
That's between Scarface and Willie D. We don't have shit to do with that.
Well, I mean, they could have called Willie D, too, but I got you. Yeah.
Between Scarface and Willie D. We don't have nothing to do with that. Keep that in Texas.
Right.
Their affairs. But Face not being there is a red flag, because here's the thing. has a Southerner and somebody that, you know what I mean, loves the culture down here, isn't it a little bit of a slap in the face that, like, we didn't see any of our heroes really?
And, you know, Pimp C's no longer here. So they did do some tributes to guys who weren't here anymore. And I guess they didn't do a Pimp C tribute, which is
Would have been nice to see Bun B come out. You know, Bun down for the Pimp tribute.
I mean, Bun's everywhere. I don't see how Bun's not there. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bun's very mainstream friendly.
But once again, let's go back to this again. It's like, well, who is this? Well, they are who we thought they were.
And so my BET.
Yeah, they are who we thought they were.
At what point?
People is like, at Tyler Perry. I don't need to at Tyler Perry. He know how to put together a play in the movie. You need to learn how to put together this show.
I want to say something, man. People got to stop this Tyler Perry stuff. No one has made it official that this man owns anything. Y'all out here fucking up this man's deal possibly by spreading these rumors. Until he says it, until BET or VH1 says it, people got to chill with that. Like, him putting the responsibility on somebody who don't even own it.
Is he trying to buy it, Mike?
I don't know.
Okay.
They need to let him say that. I don't know who put this fake news out there. It's like the Killer Mike fake news with the Andre solo album. It doesn't exist. Let the man say it.
That might be the cap of the year.
Yeah. I don't know. I think this Tyler Perry BET thing is really catching legs too, because people are really running with this like it's facts. He ain't say that. Like, y'all just gave me BET. I didn't say I own the shit.
Trying to put this off on somebody, Mike. Somebody got to catch these L's. Somebody got to catch these L's. Who gonna catch this fade for BET? They're like, Tyler. Go ahead, step to the plate.
It's not his fault. None of this stuff is his fault, man. All right. Complex just ranked Atlanta the #1 city for hip hop. Mm-hmm. New York was #2. All of my years, man, I never thought we would catch New York in the eyes of a New York publication, because Complex is based in New York City.
Correct.
What do you think about Atlanta being the #1 place in hip hop, and how long do you think Atlanta has had the mantle?
What's the rubric and what's the metric to measure this? And I think we need to look at this mantle as more of like a reacquisition, because this baton been getting passed around. Like TDE was a whole thing in the mid 2010 to 2020 run. So I think that the West Coast actually had the mantle for a while.
I think the year that Compton had it specifically was that To Pimp a Butterfly year, Compton year, and Game had documentary 2 and 2.5. That was 2015.
See, but this is what I'm trying to say is that, no, let's go before that. It's like, no, let's go to Good Kid, Mad City and Jesus Piece. And then go to Schoolboy Q's Oxymoron. Mm-hmm. And then go to Pimp a Butterfly. And it's like, no, that was a whole...
You know what we should do? We should do like we did with the songs or whatever and just list the years and see which city had it in those years and why.
With it. I just feel like the West had it for a while. So like people down here in Atlanta, it's like, oh, we done had it for like 20 years now. It's like, no.
It feels like it though.
No, that's not true, Mike.
Because we always got bangers.
But explain okay, but Mike, real talk. It's like, remove yourself from Atlanta and tell me that bangers is gonna cut it for 20 years.
I mean,
because where's the albums?
I was just about to say,
and where are the great artists?
You're talking albums. I'm talking singles.
No,
and I think that we're in a single era.
I'm talking artists too, because this is what I mean. Thug ain't no new artist. No, Future's not new. These guys ain't new. We've been listening to Lil Baby and Gunna for about 5-6 years now, Mike. Like, these dudes ain't new. So when you're saying running it now, it's like. But
what's the conversation this year for album of the year? I just saw Elliott Wilson say he thought that Gunna had the album of the year, and everybody's in his mentions talking about Killer Mike, both Atlanta. And then there's another debate: what's the better album, Thug or Gunna? Atlanta again.
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not viable. I'm saying if you're saying it, it's probably more of a reacquisition than it is a consistent mantle burning, like I think we've been thinking down here.
I got you. Yeah, I think that people
like CMG done had a little run the last few years. You could say Memphis has been, been. Dolph, like, that's, yeah.
I like where hip hop is. I think everybody, and I think with Atlanta, how do I say this? Atlanta having the mantle to a certain degree, we don't have it in a way where we like, yo, we got the ball, ain't nobody getting it back. We kind of share it around. Like, we're really, we pass the ball. Yeah, we win championships.
We're team players. Yeah. We're team players down here.
Yeah, exactly. We win championships.
Most
by
of us are team
players.
Most of us are team players.
Well, the ones that are active.
Right. Right.
It's all about family. So, yeah, I think that when Atlanta has it, it's one of those things where, yeah, Texas can have it for a minute.
Right.
LA could have it
Sauce
for a
was
minute.
having a nice little run.
Even when the Bay had that moment, Atlanta was involved. You know what I'm saying? We was cool with that.
Right, but
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. Let's not act like the Bay didn't have that whole hyphy moment where they had shit on lock. That's like no. That wasn't the South. That was the Bay. That was 40 in the Bay in the hyphy movement.
Even if Lil Jon was producing a lot of that, but still, you know.
Where it banging out of? It's banging out of the Bay. So that's what I'm saying. It's like if we had it, it's like yeah, but we kind of like had it in a way where it's like it hasn't been like boom all the time.
It's been some Jay-Z type shit, right? Where it's like I'm always here. I might not be the number one guy every single year, but I'm always here.
Like I tell the East Coast person in a second. It's like, well, 94 matters to the East Coast because you wasn't, winning the 90s before that.
Yeah.
Don't think that you were.
That was their comeback year.
Like, because pretty much from the time, like, I mean, what? Because you could make an argument,
Cube.
like,
Cube, Chronic, Doggy Style. That's it.
Say goodnight.
Yeah.
Say goodnight. Say goodnight. So, like, let's not act like even East Coast got to be like, we had it on like first 20 years. It's like, no, West Coast came and snatched that shit from y'all like real quick. Fast.
I was going to say.
Better stop that.
Because we're talking hip hop 50 and a lot of people are not a lot of people, but they're counting 73. To keep it all the way real, records really didn't start happening in hip hop for real until like 82.
81.
81,
Let's
82.
say 81. I feel like the message is 81.
Right. And so when did the West Coast get it? Around 90?
9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the first 4 years of that are like some real like institutionally formative years.
Exactly. So the first real year, we got 86.
85. I'm going to give them 85.
L.
Run
we'll
DMC.
start it with L and Run DMC.
L and Run DMC at 85. But by the time like 89, 90s rolling around.
Yeah. By the time people learned how to do it.
Think about this. Because think about the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
By 88, you got Straight Outta Compton, Easy Does It. Then they did the DLCs, No One Can Do It Better. Then Niggas for Life. And then you got Ice Cube with America's Most, Death Certificate, Dre with The Chronic, Snoop with Doggy Style. Better not be no New Yorker thing that you
coming around.
Pac is actually on Strictly for My Niggas in 93, and that is a multi-platinum album with 2 big singles on it. So it's like, wasn't no East Coast running nothing.
Yeah, we should do a year by year thing.
Yeah, wasn't no East Coast running. Look here.
That'd be interesting.
90, 91, 92,
Mm-hmm.
93. It went to the end of 93. The East Coast does not come back until you hear Into the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers.
They get 94, right? 95.
94 is Snoop. That's what I'm trying to say. Snoop selling 4 million records in 94.
95 is big.
95 is big.
And then 96 is Pac again.
Well, 95, here's what 95 is for East Coast, really. That's the real year that they took it back because it's like, well, you got the Purple Tape, you got the Infamous, you got the Nas feature run, you got the big feature run in Junior Mom. That's the take back.
Yep.
Because 94, like, Snoop is
Doggy
outselling.
Well, what about Wu-Tang, though?
That's why I said the start of the comeback is Into the Wu-Tang.
Okay.
But you don't see it until 95. And that's really when Wu-Tang is at its peak. Because they have a lot to do with the take back. Because look at 95. Return to the 36 Chambers, only built for Cuban links. Liquid Swords.
Yep.
Yeah, that's part of the comeback. The Infamous is in there. They got Nas on a Wu-Tang album. This is part of the comeback.
Yep.
Because
then
he wasn't
96.
Because he wasn't running shit. 88, the last time the East Coast ran shit till 94.
Whew.
So in 95. So, yeah, they went through a 7-year period where they wasn't running.
96, West Coast again. And then 97.
I'm going to tell you that 96 is actually East Coast year. If you take Tupac out of the equation, he is literally the flag bearer.
The flag bearer.
Because everything else is
Reasonable Doubt.
It was written,
Iron
Illadelph,
Man.
Half-Life, Iron Man, The Score. Everything else outside of Pac is
The
East.
Score. I forgot about the Score.
Right. No,
the Score.
Muddy Waters.
Yeah. 97. That's a weird year. I think that's still East Coast, though. You got No Way Out, Puff. You got Life After Death.
Rakim came back.
Uh-huh.
Volume 1.
Shit, you can go to the Carnival as well.
The Firm.
Yeah.
Is that East Coast or West Coast?
I mean, that's East Coast.
Okay. East Coast rhyme spitters.
And then 98, I would say the East Coast still got that.
That's just because of DMX.
99, and Jay, too. I'll give Jay his props.
DMX.
99, the South kind of start coming again. But you know what we forgot about in 97? No Limit.
Nah, it's still the East.
Okay.
No Limit bubbling, but they ain't take it. Because actually, you could make an argument that 98 is the South's year because I feel like, isn't that Ghetto Dope?
Yeah, it is.
And that's Cash Money's Come Up.
And that's a Kumina.
And a Aquemini.
Yeah, Kumina's pretty strong. Rigor 49.
It's the best album that year.
It is. in my opinion.
Even though
It's the only 5 mic album that year, too, in the source's opinion.
that's just because they owed us half a mic.
49er, Rigger 49er says, what about Dog Pound? Dog Pound was what, 95?
That's 95. Dog Food's 95.
Yeah. Rigger 49er says, y'all forgot Too Short, E40, and Spice One. Shout out to them.
MC8.
MC8.
Chill.
I love Too Short, man. You know, when we were putting Too Short through the rubric, I'm like, man,
It was
Too
making you
Short's
smile.
incredible, man.
Short's the man, yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, he approaches this shit only a way that he can approach it.
He's a one of one.
He definitely is.
Buy You Some is like still one of those, like one of my favorite, just like arbitrary hip hop records. Like, you know how you just have like some great hip hop records and it's just great every time you hear it. It never gets old. Buy You Some, Sermon and Short. Yeah.
I think we covered pretty much everything.
That's what we do here.
Yeah. What are we missing? Because I know we got some new music coming Friday.
Who's coming Friday?
Currency's coming with Harry Fraud. Shout out to Currency, who's always consistent. You know what I'm saying?
Wildly persistent and consistent. Shout out to Currency.
I think there's some more new music too. But, you know, I feel like, I don't know, after this halfway point in the year, people are starting to come out. I see people coming outside now. So I feel like we're probably going to get some quality projects coming in the next couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks?
I think so. Because people just, I mean.
What's up with this Pray for Paris 2 thing?
I think that's coming very soon too. Because you know how people just pop up and, you know, just put it out. So I don't think there's going to be some long drawn out rollout. So I think that's coming.
I'm probably going to regret saying this to you, but I'm going to say it anyway. So I did see a little blurb last week that it looked like Kanye was actually somewhere, like maybe making a beat or producing some material or cooking something up.
Who knows?
Do you think? How about this? Because remember when we were having a conversation about Kanye, and it's like, well, I don't want to talk about Kanye because everybody talking about Kanye and everybody being up with Kanye shit is part of why Kanye got issues. And if everybody would just leave Kanye alone, maybe Kanye, like the music maker and artist and genius, will show back up. What would be your expectations if he is removed from a lot of the diatribes, a lot of the back and forth with the media, a lot of back and forth with the white establishment and power dynamic that has tried to strip him, and he is still ridiculously wealthy. Shout out to that brother for that.
Yeah.
The personal issues, you know, wife and ex-wife and, you know, family and all that. With all of that being settled now, is it safe to have an expectation now for Kanye to deliver us a high-quality product that bears his name? Because I keep trying to tell you, he ain't delivered a Kanye album in a long time.
It's been a minute. I do think that he's one of those guys that, you know, does his best work really under pressure. I think he experiments a lot. I mean,
do you?
I do. I think that he was under pressure during. Well, no, I agree with that. I mean, I like Donda, so I'm not going to totally shit on Donda like that. But My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, that was under pressure. That was under duress.
They was in Hawaii.
Yeah, but he was coming off of 808s and Heartbreaks. You know what I'm saying? And
yes.
Even though it was influential,
those platinum
a lot of people were like,
those platinum plaques were definitely had him under duress.
No, but people thought that he wasn't rapping anymore. You know what I mean? That was the narrative at the time because he was doing all this auto-tune stuff.
The duress he was under was more about Kanye outside of the artistry of the music around My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, in my opinion.
You know the other time he was under duress and made a classic? Daytona. This is Red Hat Kanye. This is Slavery is a Choice. He's on TMZ.
But I said album that bears the name Kanye, not Pusha T. Because Daytona's the last great thing he did. That's Pusha T's album. When's the last time Kanye did something great for Kanye? Don't give me that Life of Pablo.
I like Life of Pablo, but yeah, it's been a minute. This is what I would say. I trust his ability to come through and make a quality album and possibly a great album. But I think that he kind of has to get away from that I'm going to experiment, you know, thing. But it's a catch-22 because as an artist, I feel like innovator. Exactly. I think as an artist, he gets bored with doing what we would want to hear from him. He's even made the statement that My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy bored him, but he gave people what they wanted to hear from him. You know what I'm saying? So the fan in me would like for him to, you know, do that just to prove the naysayers wrong. I think he has it in him. Will he do it? I got to be totally honest. I don't think so. I would hope he does, though. I think he has the ability to do it. If you and I went into Kanye's lair right now, he probably got some beats where we like, yo, nigga, put this out. Like, nah, I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that kind of guy. Because even with the Donny Hathaway sample that he just flipped like a year ago, that shit was hard. He ain't put it out, really. Like, he could do it whenever he wants to, but he wants to do what he wants to do. But it would be a big win for hip-hop in general if he could give us a classic album right now.
Then do it in the basement of your house and don't release it since you want to do it for yourself so much.
Doing. All right. Well, any other closing thoughts before we get up out of here?
No.
New music on Friday. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Great show. Like and subscribe, of course. Tell a friend to tell a friend so you can join in discussions. And we here for the people, man. Forget what these rappers are saying that ain't here for the people. We are here for the people. We the only people that sit here and talk hip-hop with you and bring people into the conversation.
I just want people to like start pulling up on us when we give their albums glowing reviews and positivity. I think sometimes people forget the fact that it's like, this is black owned and independent. You should be proud that we made it this far. You shouldn't be pulling up on us only when you have something negative to say about something that, quite frankly, we get paid to critique, and people bought the us. Like, people literally slid in our DMs in multiples and didn't leave us a choice. Like, so I know y'all gonna talk about this, right? Like, for multiples of people on multiples of social platforms, it's like, no, I didn't do that. You did that to yourself with your behavior.
I think that's a good note to leave off on. I wish we could get more engagement from the actual artists when we speak positively. It shouldn't take negative critiques or something that would be perceived as a negative critique to get somebody out of their bed to go on a rant.
So right. Go ahead.
You know what I mean? That's all I was.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I shouldn't have to say anything to you to get that type of response. It's like, if you know who we are, like when No Fear of Time was getting this rating for us, why didn't we get a repost? Hey, shout out to According to Hip Hop for, rating No Fear of Time so properly. You want to know why? Because that would have boosted our profile. But they claim to love black business, but they don't want to help boost our profile. But they'll damn sure jump on here quick and try to tear us down. There's something fundamentally and psychologically irresponsible about that from a grown black man.
But we got to fix that, and I think we will fix that. Appreciate you guys. We're going to holler at y'all next time. See y'all Friday.